A topic we haven't discussed here recently are food shortages and food insecurities, empty shelves at grocery stores. Granted, we did talk about it a little bit with the chicken and the egg flu and all that other stuff. And
side note, which one came first?
yeah, comment down below if you know which one came first. But here we are today. It's April 6th, 2023, and we are facing food insecurities and possible food shortages as they will likely affect only a certain percentage and portion of the population. Do you know which ones I'm talking about?
Lower income.
Congress plans to sever aid, food stamps. All these people prepare for worse shortages, bad insecurity problems. Congress plans to vote on a cut to food stamps, and House representatives recall the times when and tell stories of how their mothers relied on food stamps and subsidized school lunches to keep them fed as children. However, today, congressional leaders press to tighten the work requirements for food stamps and other government assistance programs as a way to cut back on federal government spending. All the while, if you think about it, billions upon billions of, I feel like The Rock, billions upon billions, you don't remember that? Anyway, billions of dollars can continuously be spent and sent to other countries for various reasons, or at least so we're told.
Also, did you know that Medicaid will pay for a facelift?
And how do you know that?
Because the lady I met today who just had a forehead lift, it was paid for 100% by Medicaid.
Was it really? Does Medicaid pay for facelifts and elective cosmetic surgery, or did the surgeon find a way to manipulate the system to get it paid for?
She said you have to go to the right doctor who will say that your droopy eyelids are causing impairment to your vision, and therefore you need a facelift.
Epic, as she ordered
A double shot of
vodka.
But what's interesting
3 ice cubes, 2 limes, and hurry up.
What's interesting though is that you can get a facelift off Medicaid, but the starving children can't get fed.
What's interesting is that refugees can come to this country and get greater support than actual U.S. citizens.
There's that part too.
But again, all this money is made up. It's ones and zeros pushed by the Fed. However, we must realize and understand that as congressional leaders press to tighten the work requirements for food stamps and other government assistance programs, the Fed is pushing for unemployment. Higher unemployment rates, pain felt by families and businesses. The decision likely to seriously impact and affect families and often single moms who work hard to raise their kids with the help of food stamps that are set to face cuts that have the potential of diminishing services and support for these families. Their fate now left to the sway of opinions and outcomes of voters as Republicans and Democrats leave many lives in the balance of their decisions, and quite possibly influenced by their own personal agendas, well-being, and how else they could manipulate funding to better suit their political objectives.
I wonder if in the next election we're going to see an independent win, because between Democrats and Republicans back and forth, we've kind of gotten kicked around like a soccer ball.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know everything, especially about politics. But I will tell you this. Congress is ultimately made up of Republicans and Democrats. So whatever president we may have and whatever political party he may be a part of,
doesn't matter, because Congress is made up of Republicans and Democrats.
An overhaul to the food stamps, EBT, SNAP, supplemental nutrition assistance program benefits, and other welfare handout system could mean higher rates of hunger, starvation, poverty, food shortages, and insecurities for so many at home. It's not so much a problem at the stores and what's on the shelves. It's what people are able to acquire. Something I've been talking about for months now. And members of Congress are standing their ground and holding firm, stating, we want them back to work. Them being the people on these programs. While others are saying things like, I do not believe in making drastic changes to this program during a time of such great economic uncertainty, especially without giving states flexibility in enforcing proposed requirements. So then depending on this, it may come down to state by state. You live in the wrong state, you might get screwed.
No comment.
Nothing is concrete yet, and all of these ideas are being worked through. But in the event things go south, it will be important for food stamp benefit recipients to prepare a backup plan in the event that their food source is severed. Well, what's the backup plan? The backup plan is almost what they are imposing. Go to work. Go to work where? Oh, the same jobs that the Fed's trying to cut. The same jobs that Walmart's getting rid of and replacing with AI, automation, and technology. The same jobs that are paying less now and
Giving you less hours to
giving
work.
you less hours or causing you to commute further because stores and distribution centers and fulfillment centers are closing down. We saw a sign today at brunch. It said now hire. We are hiring. But we said they're fully staffed. They're hiring for people who will do the work for less. Same work for less money. Typically those who don't have Social Security numbers and pay taxes that can afford to do the work for less money. Nothing is concrete yet, and all of these ideas are being worked through. But in the event that things go south, it will be important for food stamp benefit recipients to prepare a backup plan in the event that their food source is severed. Folks, you're going to have to take the bull by the horns and come up with a solution on your own. This could mean a variety of different things. But at the end of the day, as I've said before, I do not want to place all my faith in the government to support me.
I don't put any of my faith in the
Protect
government.
me, keep me afloat, keep my family fed, keep us protected. As I receive a text message today from the U.S. Army Reserve asking me to join. They don't know me.
You do look good in Army Green, though.
I do. And at no time worse than ever, as Congress continues to struggle with blunder after blunder and a looming debt crisis and debt limit crisis and catastrophic fallout and contagion, on top of the dollar being further devalued as a result of the BRICS and other global impacts and the Cold War that we are in the middle of right now, while simultaneously attacking SNAP benefits, which would ultimately declare that millions of Americans should not have food on their tables. Should not. An attack on SNAP benefits is the equivalent of saying that millions of Americans should not have food on their tables. Now, I understand that many people will say, well, you know what? Some of them abuse the system. Some of them are buying lobster tail and filet mignon.
Well, don't put lobster tail and filet mignon on as something that SNAP benefits can purchase. And who's to say that if you have the SNAP benefits, you aren't I don't know the word entitled is the right word, but you aren't as something as you and I to have lobster one night or a steak one night. It's not like you don't deserve to have something good in life at some point in time. I have an issue with that.
Well, this is a glimpse into CBDC, central bank digital currency, whereas they would have the ability to control what you could buy. More so than a grocery store could, if you think about that.
Remember back when Prohibition was a thing and alcohol was like an underground thing? Now it's going to be food. Food's going to be the new Prohibition. Like, you're going to, in the middle of the night, back door, hey, you had eggs? I'll give you some flour.
Instead
for
of
eggs.
running a big block SS Chevelle's going to be running Hellcats and Red Eyes and Demon 170s.
I'll take one, thank you. To move your eggs and your chickens and your grains.
This is yeah. They're gonna be like, they're gonna see like the Coast Guard out there. They're like, there's a drug cartel, but there's a guy running eggs from Mexico.
Get the eggs. Get the guy with the eggs.
Which one do we want to go after?
The drugs help them keep them zombied up and make money off of them from drugs and hospital stays. The eggs keep people healthy and happy. Go after that.
Let's inject the chickens with some sort of illness.
mRNA.
This is undoubtedly a serious subject, and it is important to note that any dispute over the food stamp program could potentially derail the Farm Bill, which is considered to be critical legislation to both political parties because it has huge implications for low-income families who rely on federal food assistance programs and the agriculture industry. This just means that it has nothing to really do with the people and everything to do with a bill and what side wins and what side loses. And if you know anything about these bills and proposals and legislation, let me just sum this up for you. The Farm Bill is going to have as much to do with farming and food and agriculture as the Inflation Reduction Act had to do with reducing inflation. It is important to understand that their votes have little to do with the actual people, okay? And more to do with their own backdoor dealings and incentives. They know not what hunger, starvation, and food shortages looks or feels like. And they honestly probably don't really care either, if I'm being honest. At least not until they need the votes, and those come from only those who are desperate, tired, starving, hungry, and have no other opinions or options than to beg and hope and pray that if elected or passed, that they will make good on their promises made while spending millions and millions of dollars on the campaign trail. Now, yes, I'm reading notes here, but I've written these notes. And if you care to argue and debate, by all means, go for it. But to say that lawmakers, politicians, leaders are not wasting millions, losing dollars, chasing pennies, only to win and be triumphant to promote their own agenda at the expense of us, then I'm willing to have that debate
all day long.
The principle, according to some here, should be one of, quite frankly, the responsibility to help people, to help families who are struggling financially to reach the next rung in the ladder of opportunity. However, others would disagree. And those are the ones who say that they're misusing and abusing this handout for food assistance and food stamps and SNAP. And a representative from Ohio, Jim Jordan, and the chair of the Judiciary Committee even said himself, if you're going to live off the taxpayers and some kind of SNAP program and government resources, there should be a work requirement. And this will be a big fight when we get to the Farm Bill. So is it about the work or is it about the Farm Bill?
I have a question. SNAP benefits are paid for by taxpayers, right? Well, isn't Social Security also paid for by taxpayers? But they don't have a problem when somebody's a certain age and can retire and claim Social Security, but they have a problem with somebody who doesn't make enough money and they need to claim SNAP benefits?
Well, we've already established that there will be a shortfall, a deficit of the Social Security Trust Fund within the next 10 years.
So is that why they're stopping SNAP? Because they want to be able to hold on to Social Security? Because it's probably coming from the same pot.
Well, we've already discussed the potential shortfall and deficit of the Social Security Trust Fund within the next 10 years, possibly sooner. But we've also touched on how the money is printed out of thin air. It's ones and zeros. We can find billions to send to other countries, but we can't find
billions to keep here in our own country for our people.
We can find billions to send to other countries. We can't find millions to keep here.
They can, and it's not even just sending billions in dollars, they're sending billions in supplies also. So you can't tell me that you can't turn around and give some food to people who need it. You can't turn around and give clothing to somebody on the streets who needs it. You can't give somebody a place to stay for a day or two.
This is the same government that instructs farmers to destroy their crops and file insurance claims. Okay. So take
Because the
heed.
United States is a business, not a country.
The United States government,
Is a business.
let me be clear here. I'm not saying that the people and the country as a whole, but I am saying that the government is a virus.
I agree completely.
Okay. So take heed
They
of the
should
warning
quarantine
signs.
themselves.
We should. We
They
should.
should
We should
quarantine
We should impose a quarantine on them.
on the government.
But who could do it better? And at what point would they then become corrupt?
That's the problem. That is the problem.
So take heed of the warning signs, stock up and prepare. But know what that really means. This could get ugly, and the impacts could affect us all, and not just those who rely on these government assistance programs and food stamps. Do you know why?
Because even with the food stamps, it keeps our economy going.
Very good response. Because potentially this is putting thousands at risk and likely threatening the risk of businesses who may experience higher amounts of loss in regard to sales and revenue as well as theft. Just think, if you prevent the people who have really very little to lose from having access to food,
A way to continue to live, basically.
what do you think that they'll do? Now, I'm not
Whatever is necessary.
putting anyone into a category here or trying to stereotype, but it comes down to survival.
Let me make it super simple for you. If it was me in that situation, I would do whatever was needed and whatever was necessary to feed my family.
People now who aren't to that point still doing that.
Yeah.
So what happens when you push them to the point of no return, when they have no other option?
And then you criminalize them for it.
Additionally,
And then the taxpayers pay to keep them in a cell with 3 meals a day and a bed. So either way, the taxpayer is paying money. Why not just let them eat?
this ties into a lot of other videos that I've created here. Economy, money, finance, personal finance, safety, protection, preparation. However, after retailers like Kroger, Walmart, and Dollar General all have reported a decline in SNAP dollars, thus having put added pressure on discretionary sales after the pandemic-related emergency funding from the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program ended this month in most states and cut food stamp benefits for many on top of lower tax returns expected and being seen on average this year, and a simple fact of the matter that shoppers have fewer dollars to spread around, inflation, job loss, etc. This has the potential to have a huge impact on us all, regardless of whether or not we receive food stamps or SNAP or WIC or Women and Child or welfare or whatever it may be, EBT, PEBT. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay? It does not matter.
As a country, we should be fighting for each other, not against any of us, is my thought process on it. You can't be at the top if all you do is step on everybody below you.
I think at some point we will as a country, but that will be us as a people versus them as a government.
It'll get there.
And on that bombshell,
We're bombshelling again. Thank you for joining us on Conversation
yes.
Street.
Thank you for engaging in a sip of chat with the distilled fermented. I'm making all this up.
Where are Richard Hammond and
I think they gracefully bowed out when they had the opportunity. Instead
David
of
Mays, Richard Hammond, and
James May,
Richard Hammond,
Jeremy Clarkson.
Jeremy Clarkson. I don't know where David
They
came
got all their money. They left. They took off. They didn't have to do a farewell or so long. It's kind of like, oh, there's C-19. We'll just
For those of you who don't know who we're
quietly
talking about,
back away. It's
Grand
like
tour.
Homer Simpson, like fading into the hedge
bushes.
bushes.
we're just back out here. Well, no, because what's his face? I do this every time.
Richard?
No,
He still makes videos. Well, Richard and James.
the one with he bought the farm.
Oh, Jeremy.
The main guy, Jeremy Clarkson. He bought a farm and tried to have a Lamborghini tractor.
He did buy a farm. He bought a
interesting.
Lamborghini tractor. It was an abomination. I
Yes.
think Amazon put some money into it, but you kind of need to know If you ever watch Seinfeld, go out on a high note.
Yes.
Drop the mic. Don't look back.
Don't look back.
But with that being said, don't let your last episode be the last episode of Seinfeld because that was terrible.
Awful.
That was awful.
The way they ended that, are you serious?
Awful.
It's fine. The last episode of Friends was good.
I don't remember the last episode of Friends. I don't know it like that. I was a
Honestly,
Seinfeld person.
I wouldn't think you would have watched Friends.
I was a Seinfeld person.
I was a Friends person. Now I'm a Seinfeld person.
We did see Jennifer Aniston in the Murder Mystery 2.
We did see Jennifer Aniston.
We saw an actress labeled as Jennifer Aniston in Murder Mystery 2.
I actually talked about this on 2.0 with the way these older actresses, their faces.
Maybe she got it done with Medicare.
Because Jennifer Aniston needs Medicare. There we go.
Don't put it past these celebrities to utilize these resources and not spend their own money.
Well, isn't that what Trump said? I know how the system works because I'm the one I use the system. What was it? What did he say?
I know it's corrupt because I use it. That was Chappelle who said it even better than Trump.
Yes.
We can only laugh about it, folks, because it is the reality that we are faced with. Mm-hmm. But we also, with the laughter, we can plan and prepare for it as best we can. Mm-hmm. There's no guarantee, but much like everything else, it's better to have as much as possible and not need it than need it and not have it.
Agreed.
I appreciate you guys watching. Please give the video a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out Squirrel Tribe in 2.0. And perhaps maybe even get you some bourbon. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.